Welcome into the NBA Tip-Off Show on WagerTalk TV. I'm Megan Payton. The NBA playoffs continue. Two possible elimination games on the card tonight. Can the Sixers close it out at home? Will the Nuggets do so on the road in Phoenix? We break it down with three of the best cappers here at WagerTalk TV. That's Ralph Michaels, Teddy Covers, and Brian Power. Boys, excited to talk these two games with you all. Get some best bets from you. Before we get into tonight's action, let's go around the horn, hear how you guys are doing. Brian, what's going on with you? How's the week been for you at WagerTalk?
Well, Megan, thanks for having me. Yesterday was great. Brought out the old broom. 4-0 sweep on Wednesday, 2-0 in MLB. Hit our best bet in the Champions League with Inter Milan. And, of course, the big one, the 5% play on Golden State, going back to late December now. 71% with all 5% plays across all sports. And 4 for 4 this season with NBA 5% plays. I think that's pretty good. So feeling good about that. Unfortunately, we're always honest here on the program, though. Was hoping that I would have started Thursday off with the winner. I did not. San Diego was a very disappointing loser to start Thursday, but that brings us to why we're here, right now, talking NBA. I have two best bets lined up for Thursday. I will be giving one out for free at the end of the program, so stay tuned for that.
Brian, you got your Celtics green on. Not sure if you're hinting at something for the future in this show. Teddy Covers, good to see you. How have you been, and what's going on for you at WagerTalk?
Well, Brian lost with the Padres today. I had the fun of losing with San Diego yesterday with my only release. And boy, that was a frustrating one, a blown save, extra inning loss. But it happens. Nonetheless, the NBA has been very, very good, close to 60%, just shy of 60% now over the last 15 months and over 60% in the last two postseasons. I do have a single best bet available for tonight in NBA playoff action right now on Throwback Thursday, half price at WagerTalk.com.
Throwback Thursday for all at wagertalk.com. Half off. It's always fun on Thursday. Ralph Michaels, great to see you. What's going on with you this week?
Doing great, Megan. Thanks. And just a reminder for everyone at WagerTalk, we have a new 7-Eleven special. If you go to any Cappers page, you're going to see a 7-Eleven special. You're getting a normal 7-day all access for $99, but instead you're getting 56% free days. You're getting 11 days for that same $99 price. So think about it. For those of you that like coming to WagerTalk on Mondays and spending $9 on one package, you're paying $9 a day for your favorite capper. I have two plays for tonight. NHL sides. I actually dropped an NHL 5% total yesterday. I thought Toronto would come out and score more, as I thought that game would go over the total. It did not. But NHL sides on a 10-1 run, and I have a 4-star baseball play together. I have those two bundled for just $14.50, of course, for Throwback Thursday.
Lots of fun things up at wagertalk.com and two fun games on the slate tonight, guys. It's game 6, potential elimination games. Let's start with our first one. Out east in Philly, we have Celtics at Sixers. Tip off at 7:30 Eastern. Boston laying 2.5. Total at 212.5. Philly got the upset win in game 5. Thank you to Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid. Both had 30 or more points. And now they look to close it out for game 6. This is a game 7 mentality for the Sixers. The last thing they want to do is send this thing back to Boston and give the Celtics a shot to take over on this series. Teddy, how are you approaching this one? Do the Sixers get it done tonight?
So I'm in play for the clients on the side here. I'm going to talk total for the purpose of this particular discussion. And when it comes to the total tonight, look, we've seen a fair bit of under money down to 212.5. I like the under last time out, and it ended up going over the total, ended at 218. A lot of free throw shooting for both squads. But the pace was not as slow as I expected it to be. And the Celtics didn't shoot well, and it still went over the total. For tonight, Boston's openly talking about trying to push pace, right, which we haven't really heard in this series. The money's come the other way. I lean over in tonight's matchup. I don't know if the Celtics can control pace, but I do think that if Boston looks to push and if Philly continues to shoot well like they've been able to do, we haven't seen the defensive adjustments from Joe Mazzulla's team, not in the first round series against the Hawks and not in this series against Philly. So I'm expecting the 76ers to continue to be able to shoot fairly well. And I think Boston's going to push pace and have opportunities to put points in the scoreboard as well. So lean over in game 6 tonight.
From a side perspective, the trends say take Boston. This is a classic spot for the Celtics. They win over 70% of the time coming off a loss as a favorite. This happened last year when the Celtics were in the playoffs in 2022. Ralph, you're the stat guy, trends and angles. What are you pointing to in this one?
Well, I had to go to the database, Megan. So thanks for that little lead in there, giving some trends and angles on the situations. The one thing I will jump, I have no action on the side, but I clearly do agree with Teddy's lean on the over. You look at the series, all but one game went over the total. The game that did not go over the total was when Philadelphia scored 87%, shooting 39.2%. You do not see many playoff games in which the Celtics shoot under 40%, and yet the same game still goes over by 4.5 points. As far as the side goes, let's get the T&A out of the way, the trends and angles. So when a playoff team is off a loss as a home favorite of 7 or more, and they're now an away favorite. So, of course, the Celtics were a big favorite in the last game. They lost to Philadelphia. They're now the away favorite. In those situations, going back to 2015, it's only happened 14 times. But those teams, like Boston, are 13-1 straight up and 12-2 against the spread. Just FYI, the only loss in that role, September 2020, which was the 2019 season because of COVID. And again, we had a different playoff situation. The Clippers lost to the Nuggets in that role. One more situation, someone asked me on Twitter, so I looked it up and gave the response. When you're in the playoffs and a team has 3 wins, so they're going for the potential series winner, and they're a home dog, like the 76ers, this has happened only 15 times since 2002. So we have over 20-some years of sample size, and it happens less than once a year. Those teams have gone 5-10 straight up, 6-8 with 1 push against the spread. So off a big home loss as a favorite, and being an away favorite, leans with Boston. Philadelphia being a home dog with 3 wins, going for a clinching win. Situation says they do not get it. Now, I will also say this. I do lean Boston in this game. I just think you look at the dynamics of the game. Listen, the 76ers haven't been in the Eastern Conference Finals since 2001. There's pressure on them to get this win and beat Boston. You look at the Celtics, they went into Milwaukee last year and had to win game 6 and then ended up winning a game 7. I think you have a confident bunch. I think they can play better defense than they did, allowing over 50%. I think the offense shoots better than the under 40% shot. Under 40% that they shot last game. So I will back the color of Brian's shirt.
It's hard to back always the color of Brian's shirt, which is the Boston Celtics, when you've got the current MVP Joel Embiid on your team. Embiid's looking healthier and healthier each game, coming back from that right knee injury. Has had 4 or more blocks in the last 3 or 4 games. Embiid's put up 30 or more points the last 3 games. What kind of performance does Embiid have to have tonight, Brian, if the Sixers are going to close this one out?
Well, full candor, my best bet for the show is going to be on the side, so we'll wait to that. I'm also going to touch on the total here. You mentioned Embiid, Megan. I want to look at James Harden and Tyrese Maxey. You had mentioned at the top, both of them had great game 5s. Harden had a near triple-double. Maxey had 30 points. But both of those guys have been pretty inconsistent in this series. Harden obviously largely disappeared in the games that the Sixers lost, games 2 and games 3. Maxey, he's been up and down as well. These guys had hit on this. The overs hit in 4 of the 5 games in the series, including 3 straight. I would not call this a high-scoring series, though, by any stretch. The most points scored in regulation in any game since game 1, where both teams came out shooting the lights out, was 218. Game 4, in case if you had forgotten, went to overtime. Boston's offensive efficiency, I think, is a little misleading when you look at just the number, Megan, because in game one, they shot like 56% and they lived in the paint when Joel Embiid was not on the floor. So I think that's kind of a misleading number as well. Teddy hit on this. The number of free throws we saw in game 5 was high. It was 61 between the two teams. I don't think we see that here. It's probably, given the stakes, going to be a lower possession game. Obviously, Boston with its season on the line. And do the Sixers, I know they're at home, but I don't know if they shoot 50% overall and 40% for three like they did in the last game here. I am not running to bet the total. I actually did kind of agree initially with the line move to the under. It's 212 and circa 212 and a half everywhere else. I to be honest with you, if I was playing the total, it is not a client play. I was leaning towards the under just a little bit in this one.
I had James Harden over 7.5 assists in game 5. These lines at 8.5. I'm kind of wanting to run that one back. Harden over 8.5 is going to be something I'm eyeing for Celtics Sixers. Let's switch out west. We head to Phoenix. We have Nuggets at Suns, tip off 10 Eastern. Phoenix -2, total at 225.5. The Nuggets won game 5 at home and covered. Guys, the home team is still undefeated in this series. It's as simple as that, or it feels that way. Brian, will the trends continue? Does the home team win tonight?
Yeah, home teams have been cleaning up in this postseason, haven't they, Megan? Going back to Saturday, the only time we've seen a road team win was what we just talked about, Philadelphia in game 5 at Boston. And maybe in the case of Nuggets Suns, we shouldn't be surprised at the success home teams have had, especially when you look at Denver. Their home versus away splits this year, guys. Denver 40-7 straight up at home as opposed to just 20-25 straight up on the road. And at home, the Nuggets, they're outscoring teams by 10.3 points per game, while on the road, they get outscored by 3 points per game. Phoenix, 2 previous home games in the series, they've averaged 125 points on 53% shooting. So this number opening where it did, despite Denver closing as a 6.5-point favorite for game 5, it seemed fair to me. Now, in the last hour, we've seen some movement with DeAndre Ayton being ruled out. He's going to be on the bench alongside Chris Paul. But I don't know if that's necessarily a negative for the Suns, quite frankly, especially if you listen to a lot of the chatter. What this game is going to come down to is, will a role player step up? I actually talked about something similar with Teddy and Prez on WagerTalk today, yesterday morning in the Knicks Heat series. We know the 4 star players, Booker and Durant for Phoenix and Murray and Jokic for Denver, are going to probably have good games here. But, Shamet for Phoenix stepped up in game 4 with 19. Then it was Bruce Brown contributing 25 for the Nuggets in game 5. So does a role player step up tonight? Role players, as we know, typically it's at home where they step up the most. I don't think either team could win if both of its stars don't have big games, particularly Phoenix. If Durant or Booker have an off night, they're not winning tonight. But I think that's the key to look for here in this one, whether or not a role player can step up for either of these teams. And then for Phoenix, they certainly hope so because they need their season to stay alive.
DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul ruled out tonight for game 6, Nuggets versus Suns. Devin Booker's in. That's a gimme. And here when you look at Devin Booker, over 36 points in the postseason. At home, he's been going crazy. Just in the postseason alone, he's shooting over 87% from the field. But at home, game 3, did not miss a shot. 47 points. Teddy, how important is Booker's performance tonight if they want to keep the season alive with the Nuggets team that's been on fire? I think you're muted, Teddy.
Muted, Teddy.
Like I said, let's try that one more time. My apologies.
There we go.
If you're betting the Suns to win, I don't usually do that. I always make fun of other people for doing that. If you're betting the Suns to win game 6, you're betting Booker over the total. All right. The only reason that this series is still going on is because Devin Booker has been amazing, and particularly in the 2 home games. As you mentioned, he didn't miss a whole lot in either of those 2 contests, and that's what they're going to need. That being said, it's not just Ayton and Paul. The latest is Jamal Murray has a non-COVID illness, which it's a flu game for Jamal Murray. which may not be a great thing. And it's not like he's been shooting lights out anyway in this series for the Nuggets. Nonetheless, it really feels to me, even though the home team has won every game in this series, I think Denver's a better team. And this is the type, game 5 kind of showed it. And without Ayton, I understand Jock Landale. They're like, oh, yeah, and any Jock Landale props you can find, you might want to play some overs. He's going to get Ayton's minutes. But they need Ayton's defense in the low post. Without him, that's a huge loss. And even with the Murray concerns about his health tonight, the markets have made it very clear. They think Denver's going to close it out. And I don't disagree.
This is a perfect time to talk trends and angles. This is a perfect motivation spot for the Suns, but also on the other side, a situation where we can just say home team, take them in this series. So we go to the trends and angles master. That is Ralph Michaels. What should we be looking at for this game 6 out there in Phoenix?
Well, I lean Phoenix. So now I'm going to say I'm going to give you a trend that goes against that play. And again, when I'm giving you trends and situations, that doesn't mean we automatically bet on them. That just means it may make your play stronger. It may make your game weaker. So when I look, this one actually surprised me quite a bit. When I looked at all the playoff series since 2007, when the home team won each of the first 5 games and it went back to the home team for game 6, those home teams, despite being an average line of minus 0.9, so basically of the 19 times it happened, the average line has been a 1-point favorite. In game 6, when the home team has won each of the first 5 games, they've gone 6-13 straight up, only 5-14 against the spread. That's 26.3%. Again, I'm not often shocked when I look up numbers and get expectations. That one truly did shock me for the home team. So again, when a home team has won each of the first 5 games, the home team in game 6, only 26.3%. As you and Brian alluded, this has been a home playoff for this 2021 season. 2022 season. And just to give you guys a quick recap, if you bet every home team so far in the playoffs this year, you have gone 40-28 against the spread. That is 58.8%. By the way, those home teams have won 63.8% straight up. If you've taken every home team as a favorite, a pick, or a 1-point dog, so we're excluding home dogs of 1.5 or more, the NBA playoff home teams this year have gone 34-21, 61.8%. They've gone 39-16 straight up. So very true, the home team has dominated. But I look at this, and to me, you look at what Phoenix has done. Up until last game, they shot 43%. The second game in Denver, they shot 40%. They've shot 50.5% or better in all 4 remaining games. What did Denver do on the defensive side? Well, the last 2 games, Phoenix has allowed Denver to shoot 56.2% and 49.4%. I think Phoenix gets some defensive stops. They know people they can count on. I think they sneaked a win in here, and I have a definite opinion on the under.
Hopefully we'll get into more of that with Ralph Michaels. I'm just going to ride Jokic triple-double again. It feels repetitive at this point, but it almost feels like a lock, which is crazy for the almost 3-time MVP. Did not get it this year. Okay, we switch to best bets. Best bets are the fun part of the NBA tip-off show. We go around the horn. We get our panel's thoughts. They have 60 seconds. They can do whatever they want, but they got to get in and out with a minute on the clock. Ralph Michaels, your minute starts now.
Well, I think I'm going to end up doubling up here, and I'm going to go with the Celtics. And I just think they're in the situation where, they were the best offensive and defensive performance team together on the season. They're off one of their worst performances. 3-point, you saw Horford go 0 for 7, White 0 for 2, Smart 2 for 5. I think you say you have better performance from them. Philadelphia from 3-point land ended up shooting 40% their last game. Maxey 6 of 12. Offense, defense, I think they put it together. I think the Celtics force a game 7. So I will love the rest of my time to my 2 esteemed colleagues.
With 20 seconds to go, Ralph Michaels, you're in and out today. Brian Power, your 60 seconds starts now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to the same game, Megan. Boston certainly did not expect to be in this position after they won Game 3 at Philadelphia, 114-102. Of course, came on the heels of blowout winning Game 2 as well, but they've played pretty poorly these last 2 games, losing in overtime. They fell behind. It was a furious rally to force overtime. And then at home in Game 5, they left us all stunned, losing 115-103. That's got them on the brink of elimination tonight. But I just do not see, and Ralph hit on this, Boston, their offensive efficiency in the regular season. I can't see Boston shooting 39.8% overall or 31.6% from 3 with their season on the line. Keep in mind, the first 2 losses in this series were by just a combined 5 points. Megan, you had mentioned earlier in the show that how Boston erased a 3-2 series deficit last year. Jason Tatum stepped up big in the Game 6 against Milwaukee with 46 points. My best bet is on the Boston Celtics for today. Yes, it's not just the color. It is a Boston Celtics sweatshirt. That's one best bet for today. Head on over to my page. You can get the other one half price Throwback Thursday.
On Throwback Thursday, Brian Power with what looks to be a throwback Celtics shirt. Teddy Covers, you have 60 seconds. Your best bet section starts now.
Let's talk the late game tonight. The Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns. When the prop market opened for this game, DeAndre Ayton wasn't ruled out, and Jamal Murray wasn't even on the injury report. Now Ayton's ruled out, and Murray is listed as questionable with a non-COVID illness. What do we do with this info? Number one, the markets aren't necessarily going to adjust quickly enough to information and how to process it. Number two, Murray, who's been terrible from 3-point range. He hits it 6 of 10 in Game 1. Since then, he's 4 of 22 from 3-point range. And, ice cold. So over under 3-pointers, 2.5. I think we go under that. What do we have? No 8 in the low post. What do we have? If Murray plays, he's going to drive, in theory. We can go under PRA. We can go under wherever you want with Jamal Murray. Pick your poison. I went under 2.5 3-pointers.
That'll wrap up the best bet section from our panel today. And I'm going to let you know here, I'm just taking Sixers to win, plus 116. It's not plus 245, which is what we could have gotten it at in Game 5 on Tuesday. Sixers win. Close it out at home. All right, here's our best bets recap. Take a screenshot to go and make your bets later. We have Ralph Michaels, Brian Power, Teddy Covers. We appreciate you 3 joining us here to break down the fun action in the playoffs. We hope to see you here next time on the Tip-Off Show. Go cash some tickets tonight. Enjoy the games.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.